Diecast. All right. Got my little list of patrons here. And was there anything else we need to go over before we get started? Okay, not for me. Speak now or forever hold your peace. In 3.
You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. I am so glad you're with us today. I want to give a special welcome, first and foremost, to our executive producer level patrons who help make the show go, along with the other patrons that have joined their ranks. And if you want to fall in and join the ranks of the Diecast Breakdown Army, I don't know if that's what we're calling it or not. We shouldn't call it that. That's weird. But if you want to be weird with us, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com or click the little join button down below. But of course, a shout out to those top tier patrons, the executive producers. That would be First and 64th Customs, Dane Self, DrivenDreams.org, Jason, Mad Visions, thanks Phia, Mike's Mods and Customs, Reviews Through Another Lens, TWYCE Diecast, thanks David, and Video Geek Productions. All right, well, those are the awesome people that help make the show go, but helping me make this episode go is my co-host, my cohort, my friend, Mr. David Johns. How the heck are you today?
Could not be better. Seriously, couldn't be better.
It is a great place to be on a Monday night. We are sitting here talking tiny cars with good friends, and we are joined by a very good friend of the show, two-time returning guest, I believe, and just an absolute delight in the diecast community, champion DJ K. Dave, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So
excited to be here for a third time.
Yeah, the three-peat. You're becoming the Steve Martin of our show, I think. It's like you, Fireball, and
what smoking jacket?
Yeah, we get the special smoking jacket. And I think once you reach the fifth one, you get the smoking jacket. But yeah, so there's been a lot going on in the world of tiny cars. You've been covering this gamut for quite a while, and we were talking offline before we had you on again, and there's just been so much going on, and we just kind of wanted to sit down and talk with you and say, hey, what has 2024 really spoken to you as we're wrapping things up here in the world of tiny cars? What's really stood out to you?
Oh, 2024 is going to mark the 10th year of my YouTube channel.
Hey.
So I believe I started it, I want to say it was around Thanksgiving or so in 2014, maybe slightly before that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this will be 10 years of doing that, which is insanity to me. 2024 has brought on a lot of changes in my personal life and stuff like that, where I took a new job and things have been a little different this year, but in a good way. So, but yeah, lots of different stuff.
Yeah,
I understand.
Congratulations. 16,000 subscribers. Channel's really grown and continues to grow. I'm going to let Chuck throw out the stat because I want to get it right. For channels that are over 10,000 subs, you're in pretty elite company. Chuck, what does that mean?
That means you're in the top 10% of YouTube creators. That's the number that it takes, is anything over 10,000 subscribers, you're in the top 10%, because there are literally hundreds of millions of YouTube channels and very few of them make it past 10,000 subscribers. It's very easy to look at all these big channels and go, oh, well, Donut Media is like this many million subscribers, and Smoking Tire has this many million subscribers, and Regular Car Reviews has this many million subscribers. And yeah, those are like the very rare exceptions to the rule. And we were talking about this with another previous guest, that in the diecast world, there are not that many mega channels at all. I mean, we're talking Lamley has 400K, 3D Bot Maker has 860, Jakarta has 1.1 or 1.6 million, something like that. And he is I think he's the only 7-figure YouTube channel. I think Boy Racer Ben has got TikTok pretty sewn up, but even his YouTube channel, he's still got less than 3D Bot Maker. And so we were thinking about the other day, just kind of doing this little quick reality check of, could somebody really legitimately make their living in America anyway, just doing this full time. And I think that the only person I think that has successfully pulled that off is Navy 3D Bot Maker. I know Yogi at Jakarta has pulled it off in Indonesia, but I don't know how the exchange rate works and all that stuff. But he was, again, and he is over double the next highest YouTube channel. It almost like he's close to it. So it's just kind of, as we're looking at this, this channel has existed in some form for 4 years now. We've been doing the show for about a little over, it'll be 3 years in January, I think, actually, because I think we started in 2022, January of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're closing in on 100 episodes. And just kind of going, wow, there's you put in a lot of work. Like 10 years is incredible. We've had you and Diecast Dude and these guys that have made like thousands of videos. And for those of you who are out there going, oh, I could go out there and make a living on YouTube doing this, maybe ask around a little bit first, because we have yet to have it not cost us money to do this, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, you guys got a lot of like kind of production value stuff to yours. That's part of the reason why I started so simply with just a phone, and I still basically just use a phone. Yeah, I got expensive light and stuff now that I use for photography as well, though. And it started simple. It's just simple stuff. So really, the money I have invested in any of my videos is the cars that I'm showing, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is, well, in time. I mean, and that's it. So that's the purpose why I kept it simple. Could I ever make a living off of it? Like, there's no way. And I think a lot of the people that have made livings off of a YouTube channel, they don't really make it just off of the YouTube channel itself. Yeah, it's kind of the basis for the business or whatever, but it's not. They're making some money off of YouTube ads, but then there's sponsorships and all that stuff, and then selling merch, and then all sorts of different stuff that's rolled up into making a living off of being a content creator, so to speak. So I don't think I'll ever necessarily get there, and I'm not sure that that's what I would want to do for a living anyway.
Well, then it's a job. Then it's something that you have to do. You're sitting there going, oh, well, will the algorithm like this? Like we were talking with another guest who Peak Time Racing. He is another person that does do content creation full time, but he has other channels that he does. And he has other content that he creates for other types of platforms. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to read into that. But like he said, his channel was originally about racing Hot Wheels cars. And now it's almost all unboxings because the algorithm likes unboxings. And he's like, well, I'm a professional content creator. I got to do what the algorithm wants. And that works for him because it is also what he wants to do. But if I was looking at it and going, well, I like putting in the effort to put in a high quality podcast where we have graphics and we have music and we interview people and we put them together in these big fancy things and it looks real nice. But then the algorithm's telling me, oh, well, you should just be shooting hunting videos, pig hunt videos on your phone. I don't want to do pig hunt videos on my phone. There's not really much joy in that for me. There is for some people, and that's fine. That's their thing. But I like doing the show. And so I'm going to keep doing it because it's just fun. And it's, again, we're really doing this because we want to kind of capture the people and the stories of this hobby during this time. And it's been really good because we've gotten to talk to people, some people who aren't even with us anymore, and capture those moments and find out the stories behind the collections and the designers and the creators and get to know them better because a lot of people, when they do their videos or whatever, they're not talking about themselves. They're talking about the product, and you're going, well, who is this guy? Where does he come from? Why does he have this huge collection? Does Hot Wheels give him these cars for free? The answer is no. They do not give you the cars for free because they don't have to. Yep. That was somebody told me that the other day. They were like, oh, well, would Mattel buy sponsorship from you? And I was like, absolutely not. Why would they do that? They do not need to spend any money at all on sponsorship. I'm amazed that they even make commercials still. The stuff sells itself.
You're right.
They do not need our help. There are these other brands and stuff that do partnerships and stuff. Like we were just talking about, like Cart is doing really nice stuff with creators. But again, they're doing it in exchange for product. Usually there's not really money changing hands. You're not getting rich on this. Sean Nicholas is not making his M2 video because they paid him 10 grand to do it. He's making it because they sent him a box of M2 cars and he made it. So, and now he walks around wearing an M2 t-shirt, which is exactly what they wanted him to do. So that's how it works. We're a hobby of enthusiasts who do this for free. And that is to our own detriment, but it's pretty obvious to them that we would do this for free or for in exchange for product. And I'm pretty sure Hot Wheels doesn't give away Hot Wheels to anybody. I don't know. Does Lamley buy his cars? I think he buys his cars.
No, well, no.
He gets the
John
ones.
from
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
yeah, from my understanding, I mean, John does get sent stuff directly from Mattel. He does. He sat in meetings with Mattel, all sorts of stuff.
That's true.
So
But he's like
pretty
the
interested in that
exception.
regard. But he would be the
Sorry,
exception. Yes, I mean, he's known those guys and been working with those guys for a long time. And but still like if you're talking about like mainline cases, like that stuff, he typically does not get. It's a hobby dealer sponsor, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That would
A&J
send
or
him that
Grana
stuff, like
or
wheel
somebody like that.
collectors. Yeah,
Mhm.
wheel collectors would send him that stuff, not necessarily Mattel themselves, but he does get sneaks. He gets all this stuff, and he's
Mhm.
built those relationships over time. And he just really, I mean, got in on it at the right time, probably, and that's kind of part of what his success
Yeah,
has
good
been.
for him. Good for him.
We'll be back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today. Here's this week's small channel shoutout.
Crossroad Diecast Speed Shop.
If you have a favorite Diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com.
Cast Heads Magazine is a digital publication dedicated to enhancing the lives of collectors all across the world by providing information on new models, reviews on brands and diecast accessories like figures and dioramas, throwing light on customizers, photographers and people who contribute to making the diecast world vibrant. Subscribe to Cast Heads for free and look for collaborations with Diecast Media Network at castheadsmagazine.com.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
Hey, Dave, Chuck makes a good point about it being about the cars and about the story behind it. And one story that I need to hear is, number one, talk about Diecast Weekly. That was a series that was prevalent on your channel. I think every diecast collector has seen at least one episode, if not 50, like myself. Talk about how that whole series evolved and maybe why we haven't seen it in a while. And if you can give any hint on maybe one day a return of that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Diecast Weekly was a staple of my channel that was created because I wanted to, basically everything I ever open, I do it on camera, right?
Yep.
In front of the camera for YouTube. I don't ever just open stuff without film. If I'm gonna open something, I'm filming myself opener, in one way or the other. So there would be videos I used to do that would be just one particular car, one particular set. Let's just say an Auto World unboxing, right? So, and I would just do that. But then I needed something to like catch everything else. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to do just a video on this one M2 I picked up. So let's do this miscellaneous weekly video where I would just open everything I got for that week or everything I decided I wanted to open that day and film a nice like long form episode. Me in front of the camera showing it and then it close up. So, and so I did that for a long time, obviously, many episodes of it. I don't even remember exactly what episode number I stopped at. I think it was a nice
400.
round even number or something close.
400. Yep.
Yeah. So eventually though, what happened is I kind of felt handcuffed by that format where I wanted to do videos on specific cars and specific things and was kind of toying around with doing a little bit more short form content, not exactly YouTube shorts, but just shorter videos. Not stuff that would be a 45-minute investment for someone to watch. And so I decided, but then if I take cars out of the weekly videos and do videos just on those, then these weekly videos just become the leftovers basically that I'm showing you. And I didn't want that either. So I'm just like, well, I either got to commit one way or the other. So I decided to go, we're going to try this for like the next year. I'm just going to do random videos on whatever. And so far, like was just pure stats for my channel. and the monetization and money I'm making off of it, or making off of it, we'll put in quotes because I'm not really making much money because the cars cost money. I'm doing better. The channel is performing better than when I just did 4 videos a month, basically, is what I was doing. And now I'm doing closer to like 15 a month, and they're just shorter. And it's actually a lot more content has been able to be added to my channel. So that's the reason why I did it. I thought about doing it for a very long time before I pulled the plug on it. I've always like kind of thought I was going to quit doing it. I was going to do this other thing. And then I thought about it for almost a year before I actually decided, let's just flip and let's do it this other way. And so far, I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And listen, the amount, I did notice a significant uptick in content, which I'm over here saying, how is he cranking out so much stuff weekly? But to go to that shorter format, I think you're really onto something. The numbers don't lie. Your videos are doing really well. And it's really cool when you search for a video by brand, now you're getting 3 or 4 of them in one video, as opposed to having to scour weekly episodes.
Yeah. That is the other thing. Yeah, it does make my content more easily searched and easy to pick that stuff up. So, and how do I do it? I mean, it literally to shoot like that many videos, it doesn't take me much longer than shooting 1 episode of Diecast weekly, because I just sit there with the camera ready to go. I'll light up. We'll do a video on whatever. I have another one lined up. We'll just hit stop on that, hit record on another, and then just keep going. So I kind of like bulk produce the videos, and then I just upload them all and then just get them ready. And then I just, how I'm going to schedule these throughout the week to release. And that's kind of what I've been doing. So now I may film like every other week. Like I'll sit down in my little sanctuary down here and pump out some videos, get them uploaded, and then kind of release them over the next 2 weeks, and then kind of get another batch. Or when I have a moment, or when I get excited about something and I want to open something up, I'm like, all right, let's film a video quick. Oh, now I can just do it. It's like a 10-minute thing instead of this 45-minute drawn out thing.
Makes sense.
Your stuff has historically been a lot of Hot Wheels, and of course your auto worlds, and your quest to have the most complete set of ultra reds and ultra raws that has ever existed. But you've been dabbling in a lot of other premium and some pretty obscure brands. What are some of the brands that you've really found yourself drawn to lately?
So, I mean, it's hard to say brands because I'm not, so other than Auto World and like Mini GT or whatever, I'm not really brand loyal to anything. But I've actually grabbed out, I have like, I don't know, what is this, like 12 different cars here from weird one-off brands to kind of go through and show. I can't say if there's any particular brand that I've been like, oh yeah, that's a new brand I really am going to get a lot of. But there are some that I thought were really, really good. Like, so, and that's what I've been doing. AliExpress, I've got the bug. I've been ordering tons of dumb crap off of there. Not necessarily just Diecast, all sorts of goofy stuff. Like I need a keyboard cleaner or whatever, like just dumb crap. Great place for like charging cables.
Oh, it's dangerous, man. You just start adding stuff to the cart and you're just like, oh, it's so cheap. I'll just keep it.
It's $2. Well, the nice thing about, this is an AliExpress promotional video, but they really don't charge shipping for a lot of the stuff either. It's amazing.
Well, that's true. Is like if you buy it from the right people, you won't have to pay the shipping. You just have to make sure you're buying it from the right distributors.
Yeah. So I got to say there's 2 pieces, I will say, actually 3 pieces that I've gotten off of there that have been really stand out as far as like from a quality perspective of being like, this is like, there's not much you can do better in 1/64 scale. And I don't know if you guys have ever had a car from GFCC.
Heck yes.
So they only do they have very few castings that they do. They are typically like stuff from, what is this car? This is a 1960. So yeah, they typically do like old classic cars, right? I think they do like a Jaguar, maybe a Mercedes of some sort, and then this Ferrari. And this thing is ridiculously detailed. The grill is like all like laser etched and stuff. It's got all the like the details in the headlights, and the hood opens, super detailed in the engine bay. The trunk opens. And you wouldn't even like by looking at it, I know this is not going to come across real good on camera here, but like looking at it, like the hood line, the trunk line, like you have to guess if that thing opens or not. It's just very, very, very nice. And the wheels will blow your mind because they're like this wire wheel and it's actually like open, like you can see in it. It's not like a solid, just one piece of plastic or something. It's literally like a wire, like a laser etched.
Like got spokes.
Yeah. Like, I have no idea exactly how they did it for the wheel. The wheels are unbelievably cool. So that's one. So GFCC, look out for them. These are not cheap at all. Even for AliExpress, they're expensive. So you're looking at like $30 to $40, depending on what it is. The other one that I thought was really cool was this. And by the way, these are all probably unlicensed. We'll get that out there right away. That Ferrari is definitely not licensed. The other thing is this Rhino model Singer, which I took some sweet photos of this. I put this on my Instagram. This thing's crazy. It's got like almost like a buffalo check looking interior in it. And it's super detailed. The dash is super detailed. Another really detailed open top car. And then lastly, this beast from, is it GOC?
GOC, yeah.
So this supposedly is, I think this supposedly is licensed. It's a GMC. Actually, I'm not sure if it's licensed or not. I don't really see it. I know one of their
GOC licenses their stuff. I think I have their Crown Victoria and it's licensed.
I know the Crown Vic is licensing, but I didn't see anything on this one. So,
okay.
And I know the weird thing with some of these brands, I always call them the Chinese acronym brands because it's always, that's what they are. So you got that Rhino Models RM, we got GFCC, we got GOC, I've got a DCM, BMW, FY, what is this one? ING, like they're all acronym brands. So LCD, I guess LCD is licensed though, I think too, but
like government agencies.
Yeah, DCT. So all sorts of cool stuff. And yeah, so I've definitely gravitated towards the more premium replica models, we'll say. And it has caused me to lose interest in some basic stuff. Mostly though, like premium Hot Wheels. That's like the one thing that I'm like really losing interest in is premium Hot Wheels. Like I get more excited for like that silver label series, the semi-premium. And I get more excited for some of the main lines than I do for like car culture releases right now.
So Dave, let's kind of explore that just for a second, because if you put it down, if you did like a pros and cons, you'd say premiums, you get a nicer wheel set, you probably get metal body, metal base every time, you get full detail, but yet the appeal for you has kind of dwindled. So what is driving that? Is it a lack of variety or what's going on?
They're boring now. It's not necessarily, I guess, car selection, stuff like that. Like the sets are boring. It just seems like a lot of the car culture sets that are coming out right now are just like, I get them I buy them anyway because I got a sickness. It's called diecast collecting. But I'm trying to be, I've been complete with it this whole time. So I got to keep on getting them. And I find myself, I just open them and then I go file them away and then I never touch them again. So that's where I'm getting to the point. It's like, why do I even need it to begin with? Am I just doing it to be some sort of archive for these things? And it's kind of, that's why that stuff is losing its purpose, because I don't really ever take a premium Hot Wheels and sit there and look at it and kind of admire it, right? Like I would with any of those 3 models that I just showed you. It doesn't really do it for me anymore. But I'm still buying them, so I can't really say I'm totally out of it. But yeah. And the premium ones, I just can't get over that pixelated graphic style on the Hot Wheels premium stuff. I get it. It's there and it's probably there to stay. To me, some cars look pretty good. My eyesight is still pretty good close up, unfortunately for those. But like, it's just that dot matrix printing. Frankly, it's almost inexcusable, I think. I know a lot of people have complained about it, but I complain about it every time I look at them.
I understand the and it's the tempo work. It is like kind of a it's not just pixelated. It's almost like the old comic books, like where they'd have that pointillization type thing, or the half toning, where it'd be like just lots of little dots, and they'd combine the dots to make the cars. And it's like initially I got really excited about this one, the 55 Savoy from Hot Rod Garage that came out, because the patina actually at a distance does look very good. And then you get up close to it and you go, oh, there is that half toning, and then the graphics on the side of the car are not crisp like they would be on possibly another brand. So I guess maybe it's just because they've been doing it so long, they've just not updated the technology, or what. I will say that the Mischief car, I did think they actually did do a really good job on, but again, that's not a Hot Wheels Premium. That's an RLC or a exclusive type thing. Was it an RLC exclusive, or was it just it wasn't RLC exclusive, but it was,
Well, yeah.
just dropped it.
Uh-oh.
All right. No, it's
her.
fine. I got it. That's all right. I bought 3 of them just because I just thought this was such a clever. I know there's a lot of people that hate this thing, and I understand why they hate it, but I don't know. I loved it because, first of all, I like realistic fantasy cars. Second, I love weathered stuff. And third, I just I love damaged stuff too. And the fact that they did damaged panels on it and dents and stuff. And I love the little tickets on the windshield, which even those do look a little dot matrixy, but it still is definitely a different process than the Hot Wheels Premiums. And the rub for me with the Hot Wheels Premiums, and this is another thing, just like AliExpress, I call it David John sickness, is I look at it and I go, I'm buying premium cars and there's no lensed headlamps. There's there's usually not, if there are moving parts, they've got giant gaps in them. I'm looking at, this car is $699 at Walmart, and for some reason I can get a Greenlight or an Auto World for less than that. And even those don't have lensed stuff, but their lines are crisp and the graphics are so nice and they're proportioned properly, and the wheels and tires are stock wheels and tires for that specific vehicle. They're not something from the generic haul of whatever, where they have like 6 or 7 different wheel sets. So
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages. Diecast Breakdown is produced in partnership with TWYCE Diecast and Driven Dreams Org on YouTube. Check out their channels in the video description and subscribe for more epic Diecast content.
Hey, this is Larry Wood.
This is Derek from Honest Diecast.
Hey, this is Chad Reed from Round 2.
This is Mike from Gasland.
The SRT Jovita Show.
This is Champion DJ K.
This is Mad Vision here.
This is Diecast Dude.
And you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
now, David, you're holding up
Same price as a Hot Wheels Premium.
You're holding up a Scion XB by who?
This would be DCT, one of Dave's new finds, and everything you talked about. Correct wheels, lensed lamps. Dave, I want you to back me up on this. End of the day, this costs the same as a Hot Wheels Premium.
It is semi-correct.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. So those, the older DCT models do. If you get anything that's like new as it's coming out, I think they're closer to like $10 or whatever. But still,
the value.
At the end of the day, it's what's your motive for collecting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know how to answer that necessarily, but I've always, since I started collecting Auto Worlds, that would be the turn towards like realism for me, where I started to really pay attention to like, I want cars that look as real as possible in 1/64 scale. That's kind of what does it for me. I don't collect for rarity. I don't collect. Well, I can't say I don't collect just a complete set.
I was going to say, sir,
when it comes to Ultra.
I was going to say, how dare you?
Yes. So you get that one. Okay. So that's the one thing. And then of course, car culture. I'm still buying that because I want to keep a complete collection of it. Mm-hmm. So so that's a complete lie, I guess. But I don't seek out things just because of the fact that they're rare. And I think that that's where Hot Wheels has an edge, right? They have the perception of being limited edition and harder to get and this and that and very desired. So they try to keep their supply and demand at a certain level to make them as perceived as difficult to acquire. even like a mainline you might like in some instances might be hard to get. So, and that's kind of where they get their hype from. And I get it. And of course, people sometimes collect for resale value, and that's going to create some resale value as well. So, but yeah, I'm a little beyond it at the moment.
So look, you've had a few months dabbling in the deep end of the AliExpress pool that I've actually just set up my float, and that's where I hang out now. So I want to get your impression, I guess what's your takeaway from when you do videos on these brands. I want to throw a few brands that I like, and I want to see if you have found them to be the same quality and value. Talk about DCT, a company that gives us a Maserati that we don't see a whole lot of Maseratis in true 164. And this thing is not $25-$30. They are accessible. How has DCT treated you so far?
DCT is a little bit of a mixed bag.
That's fair.
I will say, like, you can tell when you're looking at the models, you can tell like which ones are like early DCTs and which ones are newer. It seems that the newer ones are a little bit higher quality or a little bit more detail. They just feel different. I don't even know really how to explain. I have like a bunch of DCTs though. I'm trying to
and they are a little hit or miss. That is totally fair.
So I've got lucky number 13. I've got 13 of them.
Oh, you've got the whole lineup.
So yeah, I got quite a few. The first one I bought was the Peugeot 505 SW,
Killer one.
that
Absolutely.
station wagon.
Amazing.
And actually, I kind of want to go back now and get like a couple more colors of it because I think it's a really cool model, and obviously no other diecast. And that's the other cool thing about this, right? You go to see these models, these other brands, right? And the coolest thing is when you find cars that aren't made by anybody else in 164 scale. Like you're not going to find this, I don't think, in 164 from anybody, at least not a detailed one. And then that spiker, that like no one's done this in 164 scale. That's bonkers. So I love that they do that. And I don't know. I think DCT licensing wise, I think only the Toyotas are, I don't think anything else is, at least from what I can tell.
So let me hit you with one other brand that I've noticed on your video. Talk about JKM and
JKM's
your
really
thoughts
cool
on them. Yeah.
So those, I really like JK. Arguably, those are cheaper than DCTs. They don't come in an acrylic case. They come in a cardboard box and a baggie. But I've actually been really impressed with like a lot of their models. They're just cool. I don't know. They've come up with some fun stuff like a Mazda 6. Like it's just
Mazda 6. That's what I was thinking too.
Just basic weird stuff. But what's really cool, you need to get if you don't have it, if you don't have one. And I don't have it close by or I can't grab it. But if you don't have one of like the military trucks that they make, those are fantastic quality.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They're so good, actually. They're 164 scale. They're heavy. These are all metal. Just really, really cool. I'm trying to think of another one from them that is really good. The Jeep.
They've got a good Hummer. They've got a good
Cherokee
too.
Yep. I think, I do have a Hummer. I've got one of those. So, and again, it seems like the newer they're getting better at what they're doing the more that they're making stuff. So, but yeah, I've been a big fan. I don't even know how many I've got now. I've got quite a few of those.
Awesome.
And you're not just being the champion, pardon the pun, of these high-end alphabet soup brands either. You recently released a video singing the praises of some cars that are actually cheaper than Hot Wheels. So you took a little dip in the Adventure Force pool. So what was it that really surprised you about those?
I have. Look, so I've got like actually quite a big collection of older Maisto cars that are really like, they did some pretty cool stuff. I don't even know how old they necessarily are. Somebody was selling a bunch of them. They were selling them for $0.25 a piece. And I just picked up a ton of them that I thought were cool. So I've always looked at those cheaper brands and stuff like that just to see if there's anything cool there. And every once in a while you find some cool castings. It was just, I thought it would be fun to pick up a few more and to do a little video on them. But one of my best performing videos of all time is when I found those like cheap knockoff team transports at Menards, which if you don't have those in your area, it's like a Home Depot on steroids. But yeah, the video that I did, they're just like total cheap. I actually have one next to me, so I am going to grab it. But just in case people don't remember, these were being found at Menards. So there's the truck, there's the car, totally unlicensed, completely a knockoff, and just, I don't know, they're fun. So
that is,
that video was popular for multiple reasons, but
yeah,
I just like that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Mestos currently in the Adventure Force cars are great as learner cars. Like if somebody wanted to learn customizing and like do wheel swaps and stuff, they're a great thing to do it on because first of all, the wheels they all look really bad, with the exception of the T2 VW. They did a really good job. For some reason, they did really nice little wheels on the T2, but all of the other ones have that extruded thing where the rim sticks out farther than the tire, so they can do that fast production process where they slap the chrome on that part of it, and they can just kind of stamp the wheels without having to do any actual painting or whatever on it. And I understand why they do that. We've had Eddie Castro on, and he's explained that keeps the cost below $1, and they don't have interiors, so they don't have to add that extra piece and all that. But for things like the Grand National and the Blazer and the Bronco and the T2 bus and the Econoline van, like and there's several others. I just finally found a 5-pack that had the 54 Chevy in it that Eddie designed. And they're really good, well-proportioned castings that if you did a wheel swap and a basic paint job on them, they'd look really, really good. I did a recreation of the Stranger Things sheriff car, the sheriff blazer from the show Stranger Things. Hopper's blazer from Stranger Things. And with a wheel swap and a little weathering and a light bar on it, it looked really good. I was surprised at how well it looked with just a little added detail. So those are things that I think people who are looking to dip their toe into stuff, whether it's customizing or collecting, and build out a pretty decent little, if you wanted to have a nice little thing that from a distance, it looks really good. You can pick up 10 cars and still have some change left over. And get some pretty decent looking castings to fill out your collection, or to have like background vehicles for like if you're doing like a diorama type set or a parking garage, they'd be great for that sort of thing. So I think that's another beautiful thing about this hobby is that you've got the stuff as low as 94 cents, and then you've got these 30, 40, you get into the resin cars, 80, 100, $120 cars. So there's a diecast car for everyone, as I like to say. So that's the beauty of this hobby. And again, just turning things back to the Hot Wheels discussion for a second, we had Nigel from Cast Heads Magazine on one of our lives, and you talk about like you collect what you like, and for a lot of Hot Wheels collectors, like he said, he didn't say it, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he said it was like you're buying a memory, or you're buying history with a Hot Wheels. Like you're not really buying it for the casting necessarily. You're buying it because it's part of this thing this club that you're in. It's like a Harley Davidson people. They'll buy anything with a Harley Davidson logo on it, or Jeep people that'll buy anything with a Jeep thing on it. The Hot Wheels people, it's not even about the casting. It's not about the fact that it's got these old school pixelated halftone decals on it or tampos. It's that this is part of my childhood. This is a brand that has meant something to me for so long that it really is not the same without the flame. So I think it's cool now that there are so many options out there that people are starting to explore that, and not that Hot Wheels is not going to be hurt at all by people drifting away from it, because again, like you said, like the perceived scarcity, like you said, perceived scarcity, that is absolutely the case, because you talk about like a Red Line Club where they're only going to make 25,000. Oh, they're only making 30,000, 40,000 at this car. And it's like, meanwhile, Auto World's over here going, hey, this thing on the shelf right now that you can buy for less than $6, we only made 1,300 of it, and we're never going to make it in this particular configuration again. And it's just sitting there, and it'll sit there for like a week. And so it's again, it's not about rareness at all. It's about the perception, the being a part of something, and again, what you want. Like you may not care that your car is really 1/68th scale or 1/74th scale if it's a big vehicle. I remember one day I was playing with my Hot Wheels cars as a kid, and it was like a part of my childhood died as I realized as I pulled up my VW Beetle next to a dump truck and was like, wait a second, these aren't the same scale.
Kinda.
This thing would,
Is the Beetle
you couldn't
bigger?
even fit inside this dump truck. What's going on here? And then you start looking at and Matchbox at least had the decency to be honest with you and put their scales on the bottom of them. And you're looking at Beetle and going, 1/58th scale, what? And Majorette would put the scales on them too. And you're going, what is this? Why is this 1/78th scale?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. And then Auto World starts putting out the cars in their real 1/64 scale. You're going, holy cow, these station wagons are huge. And well, of course they are. They are huge. They were big vehicles. And then you put it next to you finally get a VW Beetle that's truly 1/64 scale, and you go, oh wow, Hot Wheels has been massively overemphasizing the size
tiny.
of VW Beetles for a very long time. They are tiny. But yeah, it's an interesting time to be in the hobby. You might even say the best time. Would you not, David?
Best time. I would say that. I do every episode almost. So Dave, we've noticed a shift toward more realism on the cars on your channel, except for one curious video that I'd love to know. If I didn't want to sit through all 15 minutes, I want to know your thoughts on the cartooned line. What do you like, dislike? Give it to us.
I don't like him. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just not my thing, right? I think the concept is pretty cool that the bases are swappable, and I kind of made a joke out of it at my video because I couldn't figure out that the wheels actually had different positions or whatever in the base. They like snap into different positions, and didn't figure that one out live, which I got called out on several times in the comments.
I'm sure.
Which is fine. We're fine, right? Nobody told me, okay? So they did send me, they sent me that box. For me, like tuned cars, I get it. Like, it's kind of like a Funko Pop. It's like the Funko Pop of Diecast, right? You got this goofy looking thing, but people are going to buy it because they're all done in this style. And Hot Wheels, to a degree, kind of has that a little bit, but not like cartooned or muscle machines or what else is there that's wacky. Yeah, mostly just those
M2 has
two,
has their ones,
ground
pounders
or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually recently purchased two muscle machines for very specific reasons. One's a Countach, and the other is a Datsun 240. I think this is actually a Chase. Whatever. Don't care about that because I'm planning like two massive videos where I'm going to go through. I'm on a quest right now, so I say I don't collect sets, right? But I'm trying to get every single 164-inch casting of the first and second generation Z car. And then I'm also trying to do the same thing with the Countach. Get every single different die-cast 3-inch car, we'll call it, whatever, version of it. And man, has that been a project so far. Trying to track down a lot of stuff.
I'll have to go through. I've got a bunch of weird ones, like older ones in my collection. I'll send you my photos. So let's see if maybe I've got some that you can use. But well, I can't do that because all my stuff is packed. I'm moving. Dang it. Well, if I remember once I'm unpacked, I'll figure that out. But it's so funny that you brought up the Countach because I was actually at a Diecast custom show recently where we were talking about cartoon and muscle machines. And one of our previous guests, Nestor Espinoza, who's a fantastic airbrush artist and customizer and all that stuff. He was like, I don't like muscle machines at all, but I had to get the Countach from Muscle Machines because it's so cool. And I agreed with him. Like that is just like, I don't really care for muscle machines much either. It's just not really my style. But the Muscle Machines Countach just looks so cool for some reason. It just looks really, really good. And
it does look pretty
I dig
neat.
it. But I know what you
like I said. I mean, I get they're like caricatures of cars, and yeah, I could see how that would be appealing to some people, but it's really away from what I like.
Yeah,
so.
Nigel from Castheads made another good point on that. He said he didn't see them as diecast models; he saw them as diecast art, as they're like these are things that you put on your shelf because they would look good with the decor or something, or they would be something to accent your desk or something. They're not really something that you would necessarily have in a diorama or on a display with other types of cars, because it would just look weird, because it's completely a different. It would be like a cartoon character existing in a real world scenario. It's like Roger Rabbit or something. I mean, I didn't think I would like them either. And the thing that I do really like about them is the paint. I think the paint on them is really high quality. I like the customization of it. The metal flake on those cars, the ones that are metal flake especially, is just beautiful. And so I think that they're great. They have their place. I like it, but I definitely am going to have them displayed as their own thing, and have my diecasts over here. But I appreciate too like you said, the smooth swap chassis system, as they call it, the thing that you can easily take it apart. And I will say, I also did the same thing you did. I went through an entire live saying, I thought the suspension was adjustable, and it isn't. And it is. You just have to push on it really hard. Yeah, I did not realize that. I was like, oh, you have to push on it like you think it's going to break, and then it works.
I mean, I just leave it at, I get it. It's just, it's not my thing. I still, like, if I'm going to the pegs or whatever, and I still look through them. I mean, I'm looking for a chase. I'll still look for a chase. If I find one, I'll still feel excited, you know?
Well, sure. They're like, sure.
And then I'll probably flip it and buy
I was going to
else,
say, there was one that sold for like $1,300 or something ridiculous. It's insane. So, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if that's some sort of crazy inflated thing, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm told it was a legit sale.
They're neat for what they are.
But yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Before we kind of creep toward the finish line, Dave, you got some stuff coming up on the channel you want to shout out or kind of tease, or anything we need to look forward to, or anything you want to talk about at all?
Well, I've got kind of a video that I don't know if I want to make, which I will tease now and maybe get your guys' opinion. I do not want to make the wrong people mad about it, I guess. And I kind of feel a little guilty about buying these. So that being said, it's an AliExpress purchase. From what I've said, David, do you have an idea what I might be talking about?
Listen, I'm out of the loop, Dave. I have shut down my shopping for the past 2 or 3 months. So I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Have you ever heard of AutoStar?
I have not heard of AutoStar.
Right. There's AutoStar.
So, okay, back it up just a second. That looks really, really good.
Okay. These are counterfeit Auto World.
Oh.
I was going to say, that looks like Auto World cars.
I was about to say, yeah, nobody else is doing that casting.
There's an Ultra Red there. So I actually messaged Mike Gerthis about these. I'm like, what is this? And he goes, well, it's obviously somebody that has access to the cars and art from the factory or whatever. So that's making these things and selling them on AliExpress, or at least made them in batches and sold them.
Right.
And I bought like everyone I could find that was like different. And I want to do a video on them, but I'm hesitant to do it because I don't really want people to go run to AliExpress and start buying them. So I'm kind of waiting a little bit till they fade. So they say they kind of alluded to the fact that they're trying to do something about it to stop. I don't know what they're going to be able to do necessarily to stop it. But yeah, so you might be familiar. I'll show you another one here. This one is Orange Man Bad One.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be familiar with the hobby release of this Grana's Racing one.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
So the real car is different, or the one that actually got released. So I think these were ones that were made incorrectly, and then they ended up being throwaways. They put them on another card, and then they sold them as AutoStars, is my guess. Just because the actual one's supposed to have an orange in the back, and this doesn't have it. And the Ultra Red is also on AliExpress as well.
Oh my god!
And it's an Ultra Red of this, which doesn't match the correct Ultra Red. It's even got different wheels on it than the one. Yeah. There are some versions of some other castings, like the Mustang, that there's 2 different colors that Auto World never released. There's a Corvette, a Seat Corvette, in a color that Auto World never released. There is Johnny Lightning castings in AutoStar packaging as well.
What is how did these come to be? What is our theory here?
my theory
that
is someone at the factory is just pulling them from the line. They're making them in that same factory. So, I mean, all this stuff, right, is made over in China and various factories. So there's people that obviously have access to doing this. And I mean, China's got like zero IP law. So it's like,
right.
You manufacture stuff over there, you're running a risk. And they're just making these things and putting them out. I don't know if some of them are like overproduced ones or ones that got rejected. I have no idea. And then they're just packaging them and selling them instead of throwing them away.
And some of them, man, I'm looking at them. Some of them are literally the exact same color scheme, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're
most of them are.
The Kingswood wagons are exactly the same.
I have that wagon on my shelf right now.
Yep. Yeah, those wagons are exactly the same. The Granda's Racing ones are not correct.
Auto Star. So we're pretty sure these are made in China. I wonder. So somebody got the designs or whatever, the art, and maybe sold them to somebody in China.
I don't know.
Who knows how it's working?
Yeah.
What do you do? What would you do if you were them, Dave?
I mean, I don't know what you really can do about it. I don't want to say it's like they don't deserve it, but I mean, it's like it's a price anybody pays for getting something done cheaply in that country, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be, they're manufacturing these castings. Like if you're a factory in China or whatever, and you have the option to either like throw away a bunch of these or to actually just throw them, slap a card on them and sell them and make some money off of them, what are you going to do? I don't know. I just, without understanding exactly how it's happening, I guess I can't really comment because I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. And what's Round 2 going to do about it? What are they going to do? Pull their production from the factory? Would they be able to do that? Probably not. Can they, if they threaten that, is that going to do anything? Probably not. So, I mean, I feel bad for supporting him, but then again, we're going to use it it's an educational thing because I'm not going to open any. I'm actually just going to leave all these carded. I'm not going to open any of them up because the card obviously is part of the story as to what they are. But yeah.
Maybe you can pay. Maybe you need a whole bootleg video. The other like crazy Hot Wheels knockoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I've fallen off the moral high horse on diecast collecting. You do that right away and you start buying like unlicensed models, right? They're models of cars that were not approved by the manufacturers of the cars. So guilty as charged because I'm buying that stuff.
Well, listen. It's definitely a story that we're going to follow up on, and we would like to bring the next chapter of this story to the listeners, and hopefully with you as well. Yeah. Chuck, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm looking on AliExpress too, and I see like the Johnny Lightning RX-7 in there as well, which is a great casting, but I can't really speak directly to the manufacturing process. Other than just that I studied some international stuff in business school and just, this is definitely a problem that happens because there is no policing this. Like they can literally like these could be just made from the factory itself. Like the factory itself could be doing this and just selling them to a vendor based in China and going, oh, well, we've got the castings, we've got the paint. Oh, we've got the casting from this thing and the paint from this other thing. We'll throw the paint on this one. And Round 2 can call up and yell at them all if they want and they can just go, I don't know how that's happening. And the plausible deniability is impossible to follow up on because you're not going to show up over there with a lawyer and demand whatever. You're not going to catch anybody red-handed. Nobody's going to do that because like you said, you at best, you risk your entire manufacturing operation. You have to find a new manufacturer and shipper and all that stuff. And then they're not going to want to work with you because they heard that the other guy's relationship was soured. So it's, or they'll just do the exact same thing. So it is just the nature of the beast, I guess. And it's funny because who was it that we had on, David, that was talking about that he collected? It was somebody, was it the guy from, it was Hobby DB guy. Christian Braun collects knockoff castings because there was this thing in Hong Kong in the 70s and 80s where they would just like, there were these whole lines of toys and they wouldn't even go from the factory. They would take and make like very crude castings of Hot Wheels cars and Wellies and Corgis and Matchbox cars and make them into their own line. And the entire line would just be ripoffs of like 3 or 4 other brands' cars. And so like it's just kind of wild that that's what the price we pay for having affordable cars. Because if those cars were made here, they'd probably be $20-$30. So that's the trade-off. So, and it's not Round 2's fault. It's not Alley's fault. They're just part of the thing. There's a demand for it and people are buying it. So why not sell it?
Right. I mean, the reason why I collect that stuff or try to find stuff like that is a big part of my channel too, right? The reason why maybe like plain old Hot Wheels videos and stuff like that aren't as successful on my channel or whatever, because I do try to gravitate towards showing the audience something that they haven't seen before. So whether that is finding something obscure or weird from AliExpress or showing some old off-brand casting or just grabbing those Adventure Force or whatever and showing those, like I have a lot of fun checking that stuff out live in kind of having the illusion of like, I know I'm just talking to myself in this room when I'm talking, but it's kind of the illusion of having a conversation about what I'm seeing. So that's the fun for me. And that's another reason why I just switched the format and all that stuff, is doing that and just focusing on the weirder stuff in the hobby.
Yeah, man.
So
look, sharing information, like that's what that is. And we all need it. Like we need someplace to find it. So
absolutely. And it's again, super cool that there are things like AliExpress out there that do give us the ability to easily get things like the GOC cars
with like these Chinese acronym brands, whatever, alphabet soup brands. Like, let's say the bubble bursts, right, with diecast collecting, and all of a sudden it's like trading cards. What happened to trading cards when I was a kid, kind of whatever, in the 90s, where it just kind of fell apart and nothing was worth anything. The funny thing is, I think like your mainline car or whatever that, there's, who knows, hundreds of thousands made of, or even your RLC, there's like 30,000 made of. The thing that's always going to be kind of weird, off, and rare is the thing that's like weird, off, and rare now, which is going to be like these one-off, weird, unlicensed cars, stuff like that. I think those will always be kind of expensive to get, because once they're gone, they are gone. Like there's not going to be, they just pop them up, they make them, they go away. And then if you want to try to get something, it's going to be hard to get it in the future. They may not sell as fast, or you won't sell as many, but I think if you're a value collector, there is some value to collecting this weird unlicensed stuff that I think will sustain even a crisis in the hobby.
I think collecting is like gambling too. It's like, don't invest in anything you can't afford to lose. Like if you're looking at this to build your retirement, you could end up like that guy in the news a few months ago that he's like, oh, my children's college education washed down the tubes because there was a flood that went through my garage. And I was like, well, first of all, you weren't going to sell that for your kids' college education. They have accounts for that are much safer than like investing in toy cars. But anyway, I feel the pain though, because of course the man's collection was destroyed. But at the same time, like you have to remember, these are things, and we live in a world where stuff degrades and values collapse and cardboard rots and rubber bands eat the paint off. You just have to understand it goes with the territory. And if you enjoy it and it's fun and it's a hobby, then great. You're investing in your own personal happiness and the joy of being able to take these cars out and hold them in your hands and feel like you're holding a full-size car in your hands, if they're really realistic, or just getting that connection with a vehicle that you may never be able to afford in real life, or you just think they're neat. And I think that's if you go into it with that mentality, you're going to be happy every time. If you collect what you like and you don't worry about keeping it fresh for the next guy, enjoy it for you, free the peace, as somebody once said, and you're going to get what you need out of the hobby every single time.
Agreed. And it's a social thing too. It's a social kind of thing to be able to talk to you guys. Like, I don't think, honestly, like if I if I didn't have a YouTube channel, if I wasn't doing this, if I wasn't on social media with this stuff, it probably wouldn't be happening at all. I can't say that I would do it. Like if my channel shut down, I don't know what I would do with this stuff. I don't know if I'd keep it. I don't know if I would just start liquidating it. I don't know. I mean, I would definitely probably like slim it down. And I always think to myself, like part of the reason why I don't ever get rid of anything was because the same reason why I don't get rid of like tools in my garage. It's because that one day I'm going to need to pull that out and show that with something else, or that one day I'm going to use that. It's got some value to it. It's going to get used by somebody. I can't throw it away. I have that problem big time. And that's why I've got so many cars, is because it's like, man, one day if I want to do a video on this, I'm going to have to pull this out and this out and this out of the collection to kind of show it all. And that's why I'm keeping all this stuff. That's what I need to get over. Just figure out what I'm not going to show in the next like couple of years and just start getting rid of stuff. So,
yeah, that's a very interesting point as well. Cause I was, another thing I say all the time about it is it can be a very lonely hobby, that usually there are not a lot of people in your area that are into this sort of thing as well. I mean, I was down in a big city like Tampa, and we were going to I was expecting this big custom collector event, and it was like 6-7 people for the entire city of Tampa, Florida, showing up and showing off. And again, doing beautiful stuff. I got to meet one of the guys that won his car won best paint at the Hot Wheels Nationals this year, at the one that David and I were at, which, fun fact, David, that car that won best paint, the guy that submitted it was not the guy that did the paint job. He commissioned Julio to do that paint job and then bought the casting and then put the car together and won best paint. And I was like, wait, so you actually made the car that won best paint, but you didn't get the trophy. And he's like, no, it happens all the time. People commission me to do these really complex airbrush things, and then they build the custom and submit it and win trophies. And he goes, I've made my peace with that. You want to talk about a ripoff? You want to talk about ripping people off? Like,
he got paid.
He got paid. He did get paid. So I guess if you're doing a custom and you buy somebody's 3D printed parts and put them on your custom, I guess it's kind of the same thing. Kind of, I don't know though. Like it feels like if you're doing a custom and you're saying I made this custom, I feel like the paint is kind of like that's a good question. At what point is it a custom and what point is it a commission? Because like I did that one for you, David, where you did that Porsche, that Apple Porsche, and you did the paint and the decals, and all I did was the weathering on it. So who did the custom? I would still say David did the custom. I just helped him with the weathering. But at the same time, this guy did like this, and it was this dairy delivery car. It was a dairy delivery, and it had like 12 colors on it, and it was candy paint job, and it is beautiful, and there's flames, and it's all paint, no decals, 100% paint and stencils. And this guy did hours and hours of work on this thing, and he got paid. And then the other guy took home the trophy. So it's just like, wow. But yeah,
wow, that's different though.
Yeah. So anyway,
I won one once.
Yeah. When was
I won
that?
a trophy at the convention, the first one I went to.
Oh, nice.
It was the one in Lombard, Illinois.
Cool.
It was a Ferrari that I put like little LED headlights in.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So we have two champions on the show.
Because I won
one co-host.
So yeah, I won second place, but I did win something.
Yeah, I got second place, but
yeah, I got second
we'll
place.
take it.
Hey, 2 seconds make it first. Same. So, hey, that's great. And again, it's the social aspect. I agree is a huge thing. As I said, it can be a very lonely hobby. It can be a very frustrating hobby. If I was doing this myself, I was joking the other day that I started this hobby and I'm so in need of companionship that I'm flying to Vegas and live streaming from Diecast SuperCon next year because I didn't want to do my hobby alone. So now I'm semi-hosting this event that's in Las Vegas, and we're going to be on stage streaming just so I didn't do it alone. And I created this YouTube channel, and I'm doing all of this nonsense and getting my friends to work on this crazy project with me because I was like, yeah, I'm kind of lonely. I think I'm just going to make a YouTube channel and create a podcast and
This is a
Oh,
this is a safe space. Ellis.
100
This is a
episodes
safe
later,
space.
and here you are 10 years later doing this thing. And but that's great for people like us. Like, I'm naturally an introvert, but if you give me something to talk about, like if you give me like, hey, we're here to talk about this thing and I'm really interested in that thing, all of a sudden I'm extroverting like crazy. But you can't get me to shut up about it. And so that is, I think, again, the beauty of this. And when you go to a convention, and I can't stress enough to people, even if you're like, oh, well, I don't like crowds or I don't like whatever, go to this convention, because all of a sudden you're going to realize you're in a room full of people that you can walk up to and immediately just talk about your favorite car. And that person is going to know it and have opinions on it, and then talk about their favorite car. And next thing, you've been talking for like an hour with somebody that you're just waiting in line to get an autograph. And you find out all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, we ended up with the mid-state collectors group standing next to us in the autograph line, and they ended up coming on the show, and now we're friends, and it's great. You get this unique opportunity to not have to worry about an icebreaker in a crowded room. Like, it's so much better than going to some party, some generic party or something, because you don't have to sit there and go, who do I talk to? What is there to talk about? You know exactly what to talk about. Just talk about the thing that you love, and they will immediately accept you as one of their own. It's very rare you find somebody who is not interested in talking about tiny cars with you at that show.
I just want to say this because of the timing. We've got a lot of friends in the North Carolina Southeast area that was affected by the hurricane, and we would hope that you guys would check in via a comment on the video and let us know you're okay. We've reached out to a lot of them, and a lot of them are okay, but this was a massive storm. If you're watching this in different parts of the world, this was a nasty, nasty thing that affected a lot of states in the country, and we have a lot of fans that were affected. Chuck, even some to where he lives. So we're thinking about you, and we would love to have you guys check in and let us know that you are okay. And I'll let Chuck take us home from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, David. And yeah, I just got power back yesterday evening. I was without power for about 4 days, and I can't imagine. I was talking to somebody who has friends in North Carolina in the mountains, and they were just told it will be at least 2 weeks before they have power, and none of the gas stations have gas, and they don't know when they're going to get gas. So even if you have a generator, you're out of luck. And I just can't believe that is the situation, and that you've got cities in the mountains like Asheville that are flooded, and even closer to home here, like Cedar Key, and cities in Florida that were just wiped off the face of the map. So, yeah, there it is. Asheville strong. Thank you, David. But please leave a comment. Let us know you're okay. And if you've got some money to spare, check out some charities like the Red Cross, and there's other ones that are doing some really good work out there helping people. And while you're checking out charities, again, make sure you check out drivendreams.org, our own charity, where we are collecting 24,000 cars in 2024 for kids in need all over the world. It's a really cool setup. You can give cash, you can give cars. You don't have to ship anything. You just have to pledge your cars and show some kind of documentation that you dropped some cars off at a local charity, whether it's a children's hospital or a women's shelter that takes in domestic abuse victims that'll have kids with them, food banks, churches, the Samaritan's Purse charity thing that people send shoe boxes of stuff all over the place. Toys for Tots is going to come up soon. That's another great cause that you can very easily find those boxes and drop them off, and then you just send the number in and we add it to the tally, and we keep it rolling throughout the year. But the Diecast Day of Giving is coming up October 12th, so make sure you mark your calendars for that, and follow Driven Dreams for updates on that, and we will have updates on that here. So again, thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Diecast Breakdown. We're so glad you made it all the way here. Leave a little comment letting us know that you made it, that you're part of the End of the Show Club. We really appreciate seeing those comments. It means a lot to us. And again, we want to give a special appreciation to the sponsors, the patrons, I should say, that make this show go. If you want to join their ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com or click the little join button down below, and make sure you're clicking all the little buttons down there, especially that share one. If you like the show, tell a friend. That's really the best thing that you can do. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. Those are always highly appreciated. and they really help other people find the show. I was actually at this event on Sunday, and somebody saw my t-shirt and he said, "Oh, I just subscribed to that podcast on Spotify." And I was like, "I am that podcast on Spotify." And he's like, "Oh, I know your voice." And I was like, "You've only listened to the audio version of this show?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay. Well, there's a video version. It's much better. You can actually see what we're talking about." And so he subscribed to us on YouTube. So I appreciate that, Rob. Thank you very much. And as always, I want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.